Peace, everyone. My name is Oni, and I'm going to show you how to use a Google spreadsheet uh, for your personal life, for the betterment of your personal life. So, here's one way to better your personal life, and that is to uh, have a small business. So, have a passive income. I think one of the things you want to do in life is get yourself a passive income. And if you work at this passive income enough, it's possible, very possible, that this passive income may replace your active income or may become a livable income. And that right there is very, very, very important, right? And of course, it depends on how your monthly expenses are going. But basically, even off of a small passive income, you can make a pretty profit. So what I'm going to tell you is how to work a spreadsheet, basically, and come up with, let's say, the best passive income that's available to you. So one of the things that you want to do is you want to just open up a new spreadsheet, right, and share it with whomever you share your life with, right? Whoever is going to join in on this passive income scheme with you, right? So for me, that would be my wife, obviously, right? And what I did was I told her, I said, look, because she's from Tanzania, I'm not, right? So what I told her, and actually, I'll tell you this too. It's probably better to use this on the computer, but you could probably do a lot of this stuff on the phone. It's just a lot better to do it on the computer, right? By the way, I'm on the website, docs.google.com, and slash spreadsheet, and I'm at my spreadsheet, right? So what I did was I shared it with her. I gave her access to modify it, whatever. First off, you want to start off with the header, right? Now, how do you make a header? You just pull this up and down. Now, this is a little bit harder on the phone. I'm not even sure if it's possible on the phone, but all you do is just move this stuff where you think is important, and that will be like that's the end of it, right? So I give an example. I like to give a second lane because I could easily just not have an example, but I'll give an example. And the reason why I give an example is because realistically, not everybody fills out charts the same way that you do, right? Or not everybody gets the sheets concept the same way that you might, or even I'm not even gonna say how you might. I'm just gonna say not everybody gets it, right? Because I could even tell you this confession, right? When I gave my wife this, she wrote down 9,000 at 270,000. Okay, so 9,000 was the daily cost, and 270,000 was the monthly cost, right? And actually, I'm not even sure if 9,000, 270,000 isn't supposed to be the monthly sales, but we'll get. I'll have to communicate with her the ideal route, but either way. The point being that people are going to write different from you. Okay? And that's okay. People are going to write differently from you, and that's okay. But what you want to do is you put it on an example so that they might be able to extrapolate, or so that you can communicate very easily. Hey, look, I want just a regular number because it's going to do some math, right? So what you do, obviously, if you're looking for a new business, you're not going to know the monthly cost. You're not going to know the monthly sales. So you put down in parentheses estimated. Now, you could move this so that it says estimated fully, right? But I actually wanted to give a little more space for the descriptions than the numbers. And of course, and so I thought, estimated just a little bit is enough. And of course, I'm going to put down something here, 10-year profit maybe, and so I don't want to take up the whole sheet. And again, of course, my resolution is pretty high too, so you might not have this same resolution on whatever device you're using, and it might screw up things a little bit. These things right here make it so that when you scroll to the left or the right, you don't scroll past A, or you don't scroll below 2, so that way you can see 5, 7, 9, whatever. And you could see E, so on and so forth, but you'll always know what idea or name that is. So that's fine. Now, how would I do the coloring thing in? What I do is I just highlight all of these, and then I alter the fill. And I do like the lightest green or the lightest red. And the red is just saying, do not add. Like just don't put any numbers in here, right? So the three important things are obviously the initial cost. If you're talking about a business, the initial cost, the monthly cost, right? How much it costs per month, and then how much it how many sales you make a month, right? And then what you would do is you would make a calculation. And so the way how you do the calculation part is you type something like equal $F2, right? And the $sign basically means something doesn't change. So it's always going to be F, but it's not always going to be 2. Now, if you said $F, $2, then when you do the fill, right, it's going to keep the 2, and it's going to keep the F, right? So you say $sign to say I'm locking this in, right? But the monthly profit is $F2 minus $D2, and the and D2 is over here. So basically, the profit per month the monthly profit would be 550K minus 500,000K, and that would give you 50K, right? So you see this right here says negative 270K because my wife didn't fill in the monthly sales yet, right? And of course, I think that maybe possibly she's going to put this number over here, but who knows? The point is that you have this list, and then you make the adjustments. And it's really important to do something like this so that you can compare 10 different ideas, right? You can compare 10 different ideas. But then you have the 1 year profit. So what is the profit in 1 year? Well, that is the product of your annual profit, right? Minus the initial cost. Okay? So you see this one, and 50K is not a lot of money. That's like $20, right? $20, right? So the idea is that you would spend, I want to say $1,000 No, a little more, like maybe $1,200, right? Because the Tanzanian currency is like divided by 2,500, right? But you spend like $1,200, and then every month you make $20, okay? And then so after a year, right, after spending $1,200, you would make about $600, right, or whatever. I'm not doing the math, but basically you would I just said basically you would make 600K, right, which is about I don't even know, man, but you guys get what I'm saying. 12 times $240, right? So basically, you would make $240 after spending $1,200, which is like, this is not a good business idea, right? This was a children's park, which is, a little bit obvious. And so, you put these descriptions. These descriptions are pointless, but they're really for us, because it's a real application. You're not just putting in numbers and crunching it. You're saying, why would this cost so much? Well, I have to purchase a space and the games for the kids, right? And then why does it cost so much a month? Well, I'm renting workers and utility and so on and so forth. Now, you say, why am I making so much money? And you might not even make this much money, honestly. But why am I making so much money? Well, because kids are paying to get inside, and I'm estimating that they will, pay this, like, I don't know, 20 kids 20 kids a month or something. You know what I mean? Like 30 kids, 40 kids, whatever knows. Right? The point is that, or let's say 100 kids a month, right? Which is significant, right? But if they're all spending, like if 100 kids spend $2K, right, a month, that's only $200K. So, but I mean, like if 100 kids, 3 visits each, right, and they spend $2K each, then they're spending this much money. But of course, you have to pay for your water, your electricity, the rent of the place, the workers. Now, actually, you might not have to pay rent because in Tanzania, the rent is assumed in the initial cost because you pay 6 months in advance or something like that. But it is what it is. And then here I'll show you guys how to do the last one, which is, let's say, 10-year profit, right? And I put down calculated just so my wife knows, don't fill it in, because that's another thing she did before. She just filled in these, because I didn't have anything. I didn't finish the examples yet, and I was telling her to fill it out. But so what you'd say is, what is the 10-year profit? First off, you want to make this colored, right? Just to say, don't like it's not for human input, right? And then so you'll say, what is the 10-year profit? Well, the 10-year profit is how much money you make in 10 years minus the initial cost, right? So you have to put down the equal sign. So the amount of money you make in 10 years is the product, right, of the monthly expense, right, which is G2, right? The product of G2 and 120, right? And then you would subtract the initial cost, which is B2. $sign B2. And so you see, after 10 years, right? And of course that's assuming, but like after 10 years, you will make the cost of this vehicle. And you might say, well, okay, the cost of this park, which you might say is like, okay, long-term investment wise, one, I'm providing a good service. And you see how the name doesn't, you see B, C, D, E, and then it's no longer there. Like, it stays on the A and the so on and so forth. That's why you do that pulling thing, right? But you see, technically, if you do 10 years of this business, even though it's not profitable after 1 year, after 10 years, you do make, as much money as you invested. So basically somewhere between 10 and somewhere between 10 and 1 year, let's just say like 5 years, right? You break even, which is not good for a business. And we'll put it this way. Let's say we go to this bike. We know the bike, let's pretend it's an estimated cost of $273K, right? And it costs $2.5 million, right? Let's say your monthly sales is $500K, right? Then, so here's another thing you want to learn. So you go here and then you just pull it down. Just pull it down on this. Just pull down on this blue orb, and then it does the calculation for you. Okay? It does the calculation for you. Now it will also pull down your fill, so you just want to reset, and you'll get back to that. But the point is this: after 10 years, assuming this bike makes $500K a month, okay, your monthly profit is $230K, and after 1 year, hold on a second. After 1 year, you begin to see $260K, right? You begin to see some profit. However, after 10 years, right, you see 25 million shillings. Okay? So as to say that, for less money, right? For less money than the children's park, right? Assuming you got the 500K. Now, I'm not saying you will or you won't, but I'm saying assuming it's 500K, you will in 10 years make 25 million shillings, which is about $10,000, right? Now, again, you're going to say 10 years, $10,000, that's not that much money. But in the meantime, in between time, right? Like, for instance, when you get to the 1 year profit, no, not to the 1 year, but let's say to the 2 year profit, you can buy another bike. And the 3 year profit, you can buy another bike. And so on and so forth until you have 10 bikes, and then you're looking at 250K. That's 250 million. Now you might say, well, yeah, but I'm also, spending 25 million. Absolutely. But, because you have 10 bikes, right? But the point being that as you do this, you now have a bike empire or what have you. And with that, comes extra things, right? With that comes extra things. Now, again, the sales could, it's not going to be 5 million, but let's pretend it's 5 million, right? I think that's 5 million, right? Then the monthly profit is this, and the 1 year profit is 54 million, and the 10 year profit is 565 million. Now, again, you're not going to get 500. You're not going to get that much money. But, you could, but you're probably not. But, you're not, right? But the point is, you estimate this is probability, mainly, and you do this for 10 different things, okay? You do this for 10 different things, and then you can now compare, which one has the highest monthly profit? No, which one has the highest 1 year profit? and which one has the highest 10-year profit, right? I mean, assuming you're trying to do this business in 10 years, because again, you also want to give your children some business opportunity, some passive income opportunity, and remember too that in this country, Tanzania, right, 50,000 monthly. Oh, no, that's not that much, but the average living wage in this country is about 300K. Okay, and that's assuming that you're paying rent, you're paying, utilities, so on and so forth. Because I already own property in Tanzania, I don't even need 300K a month. Now of course I don't mind it, but I don't need it. So ideally, like honestly, even these smaller things, you can like assuming that the month, like if you could find a business, and that's what we're gonna be looking for. If you could find a business with a good monthly profit, passive income, you can live off of it in Tanzania, especially if you already own a home, right? And after you live off of it, you can like that's it. You just enjoy life. So that's pretty much the entirety of it. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ask my wife to fill this all out, and then we're going to compare and contrast and do all that kind of stuff. I'll probably shrink these down just a little bit so that we can see the important part of the 10-year profit at a glance, right? And so you see, I have to like get rid of the calculated part, I guess. Let me just do that, because that's probably the most important. Like who cares if it's calculated, right? But like because what you want is to know at a glance, and it does look much worse, right? But what you want to know at a glance is, well, how much money is this going to bring the family, right? And right now you see how this has that negative 34 million, that negative. That's because right now the calculation is going to zero, right? It's saying if the costs were 270 million, 270,000, and you've made zero, right? In sales a month, then you'd be losing. And you'd be losing, like exponentially. So this is just a really important skill. Just figure out how to do this equal sign, dollar sign. And here's the thing: if you want to see what it looks like without you can obviously do it yourself, because Google Sheets is like available on your phone and all that kind of stuff. But remember, Google does spying and stuff like that. So like use this sparingly, right? Not like just use this. Like don't give too much information. Don't write your journal in this thing. But like if you were to not put the dollar sign, I think it would still factor in the same way, but we'll just see, right? So you got to grab this B and this blue dot. And I think it will still factor because I'm not going left or right. But what the left or right thing does is, what the dollar sign does is that if I were going left and right, it would still look at G instead of, like if I were to fill left and right, it would still go to G instead of, let's say, H, and that's pretty much it. So you would do the dollar sign. It's just good practice. You would do the dollar sign to lock it in. But other than that, I thank you for your time. And if you were interested, go check out my latest book. And besides from that, my latest book, Uangalifu. But besides from that, Shamim Hotep, Anku Jas, Neb, Amen, Ma'at, Dua, Nature.